Now to our first conversation. Report from Stairs Business on Nigeria's state of power, talking about electricity, shows Nigeria has one of the lowest electrification rates in the world, with about 43% of the population with no access to grid electricity. Well, to discuss the report, we have joining us Michael Famarati, co-founder and head of intelligence at Stairs Business, and Dele Fashimo, around group head oil and gas at Sterling Bank, both join us via Zoom. Great to have you both on the program. All right, let me start with you, Michael. Quite an elaborate report on the state of power in Nigeria. Tell us about the key findings in your report. Hello, Michael. Hello, Michael. I don't know if you can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you.
All right. So did you hear my question?
No.
Okay,
Now
so yes, talking about the report on the state of power in Nigeria, I want you to tell us about the key findings for the report.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much for that, Ladi. I think the first thing that the report does essentially is provide a structural assessment of Nigeria's electricity issues, and it puts that in context, right? So it looks at issues, first of all, from trying to understand the electricity demand gap. So one key finding from the report is that in terms of electricity generated in Nigeria, although the national grid provides about 4 gigawatts on average, Nigerians by themselves generate over 40 gigawatts a day, which just shows that captive generation accounts for over 10 times what the grid can provide. And for us, that's important because in terms of substitution, it's very likely that a number of households and businesses that have relied on petrol or diesel generators for the last 10 years are increasingly looking at solar. So that 40 gigawatt number gives us a sense of even the current market size before we even begin to discuss the potential for people who aren't connected to the grid or don't have any form of self-generation. So I think that that's a very important starting point for understanding the need and use of solar in Nigeria.
Right, and let me come to Dele now. Dele, the demand for electricity will continue to grow, with population growth and, increasingly complex energy uses. What do you think we should be doing and the government should be doing right now?
Yeah, absolutely right. The demand for energy will continue to increase, driven by what you mentioned, population growth and advances in productive activities across the world, and particularly Nigeria, where the need for industrialization is even much higher. What the government should be doing include, part of what they are doing right now, which is within the economic and economic growth plan of the country. It's already embedded how to increase energy generation and access to electricity generally for the people. However, one thing that needs to be scaled is increasing focus on off-grid sources. As we all know, the situation of the grid in the country requires a lot more investment, which it's not very certain that would happen anytime soon. And of course, the off-grid sources present a very viable opportunity for the country to meet the energy and electricity requirements of the country. And indeed, when we're speaking about off-grid, we're not referring to the use of fossil fuel-powered generators, which on their own could be referred to as off-grid, but we're referring to off-grid sources that are renewable and scalable, and this is something that is already being tested. So that's what we're advocating the government should pay more attention to, especially now.
Right, and with the war in Ukraine, Michael, oil and gas markets have been quite volatile. Rising energy costs, that's also stoking inflation. We've seen diesel selling in Nigeria for about 800 naira, per liter. But this renewable energy should be shining at this point.
So to put it in context, diesel prices have tripled since the end of 2020. So just showing the extent of the price rise up, and it's really interesting because the price of solar has been going in the opposite direction. So in the last about 13 years since 2009, the cost of solar modules have gone down by about 95%, right? And that actually beats the target set for 2025. So what we're seeing is while the price of petroleum products are going up, and we also expect the price of grid power to go up over time as tariffs become more cost reflective. On the solar side, costs are declining as the technology matures and as businesses figure out models that are sustainable for customers, right? So, for example, we've seen the use of BMPL solutions more and more in Nigeria as businesses try and find a way to help people deal with the high upfront cost of solar, because that remains the only real financial barrier for people accessing solar in Nigeria.
Right, and Dele, give us some real-life case studies or examples of large off-grid solar projects.
Thanks. There are a couple of those already in the country. If you go up north, you will see large solar installations powering federal government universities. A case in point will be the Bayero University in Kano, which has a combined hybrid install capacity of about 7 megawatt powering the university community. So that's a classical example, and there are a few other institutions like that and other commercial and industrial type examples that we have seen. This goes to show that solar can actually indeed generate the required energy for commercial and industrial facilities. Certainly, solar is able to power residential and other household requirements for energy. So that's what we're seeing.
And Dele, cost is another matter, when it comes to using alternative sources of energy. What are the financing options for, solar energy solutions for, say, households and businesses?
Thanks for that. There are a number of financing options that are available within the financial market, particularly with Sterling today. And I would like to begin with, the later part of your question, which is what's available to households and small businesses. Today, there are at least 3 financing options. Indeed, consumers can acquire those assets by themselves. We've got listed with us a number of technical partners who will then deploy and help maintain. There are other 2 financing options which include direct, loan, which we call lease to own, which is something that Nigerians are generally used to, pay as you go, and then you can pay over time between 24 to 48 months, depending on the income levels of the individual. There is also the beautiful one, which is power as a service, in which case consumers or buyers don't necessarily have to own the equipment. The assets can be deployed to your office or to your home locations. You sign a renewable energy uptake agreement, agree a fixed monthly charge, and you continue to enjoy your constant clean energy supply over the life of the contract that you may have signed with such providers, including Sterling or any of our affiliates. So this way, we are able to help people beat the barrier of initial outlay or the acquisition cost, which we see has become a major impediment, but we are already solving for that. On the corporate side, for businesses, there are financing options that are also available, either through commercial banks or through any of the federal government-sponsored financing initiatives. There is the Solar Power Niger Project Fund, which is managed by the CBN and the Rural Electrification Agency. There are 2 different funds managed by the REA, again, provided by the World Bank and the African Development Fund, or bank rather. So these and various other initiatives with development agencies and partners coming into the country to help move the needle when it comes to energy access. And most of these loans that I've mentioned, just to encourage uptake, come at significantly subsidized interest rates and relaxed collateral conditions, especially if you are speaking with the right bank, like Sterling.
But Dele, like with rising global inflation, that we're seeing right now, is there a risk that, the cost of solar will actually go up as we're seeing rising prices of everything at this point?
You're right. That remains a concern. However, the way this is being solved, again, because what is happening, what really makes that happen locally is the translation costs, because for now, a lot of the components are imported. Like Michael mentioned, globally, prices of components are actually declining with increasing uptake, with advances in technology supporting the production. However, locally, once you import, given the current exchange rate, local realities, you see an uptick in the price. However, there are a number of businesses that are looking to set up local manufacturing plants in Nigeria, and these in the medium to long term will actually help remove the import component, and we can truly enjoy the significant savings coming with improvement in technology and the international prices of solar components.
Right. All right, Michael, let me come to you now, Michael. Can you paint a picture of the impact of Nigeria's electricity problem, from the household business to the macro level?
Yes, I think that's important. So just here are a few statistics that, puts in context, right? So first of all, less than 50% of the Nigerian population is connected to the national grid. But even within that number, most of them are urban consumers. So in rural Nigeria, you have an electrification rate closer to 20%. Now, when you even drill down here, you find that of the people that are connected to the grid, just about 40% have meters, right? So most of the people who are plugged in still suffer from, still aren't able to calculate their bills accurately, right? Now, you then move on to the business side, right? The World Bank did a survey a few years ago looking at infrastructure across the world. And when it came to the number of hours of power outage across the world, Nigerian businesses face the most. On average, Nigerian businesses suffer 380 hours of outage each month. The next highest country was Congo with 235 hours, right? So that just shows how far ahead of everyone that we are in this area. Finally, when you look at the total cost of Nigeria's power crisis, it was last estimated at 10 trillion naira a year. Now, that is roughly $25 billion or 2% of national GDP, right? So again, that just puts in context the size of the problem for Nigerians every day, both in terms of businesses and households.
And what would you say are the limitations to solar adoption in Nigeria?
I think the main thing here remains still making sure that operators are able to roll out sustainable business models to allow to access solar, right? So we've highlighted the upfront cost problem already. And I think, again, that's important for operators. And we are seeing solutions. And again, this is where Sterling and other financiers coming. It's important that there are financial solutions to enable solar access. I think beyond that, though, when you then look at the industry, it's still very highly reliant on imports. And that's something that Dele highlighted earlier. You look at the talent available for solar companies, and they're not exactly many, right? So what we should be looking to do over the next 10, 30 years is really build the local base for a thriving local solar industry, because right now the industry is mainly a bit of assembly and then a lot of distribution, right? But that then means that the value chain is highly reliant on imports, and given the FX situation, we know how volatile and vulnerable that makes the industry as a result.
Right. I guess in Nigeria here, we need to get that perfect mix, for electricity generation to actually surmount most of these problems. I want to thank you, Michael Famrati, Head of Intelligence, co-founder, Stairs Business, and Dele Fashimo, Group Head, Oil and Gas at Sterling Bank. It was great having you both.
Thank you.
All right, now, so after the break, we'll look at Nigeria's insurance industry in the face of rising inflation. What's next in that segment? That's in a moment. Do stay with us. This is Business Morning.